I'm going to call our special select board meeting of Monday, February 22nd to order. And the first item is approval of the agenda.
Don't move.
Moved. I'll second.
Moved and seconded. Are there any requested amendments or changes to the agenda? If we have time, depending upon the time, I might like to do an executive session to cover a employee contract issue. Okay. All in favor of approving the agenda as drafted, signify with a thumbs up.
Hey, Brian, I'm not sure why my camera's not working, but that's a thumbs up from me.
Okay.
I may have to go get on a different computer, so I may be gone a few minutes and be back. Sorry, everyone.
Okay. Next item is approval of the minutes of our February 9th select board meeting.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Are there any requested changes to the draft minutes? Okay, seeing none. All in favor of approving the minutes as drafted, so signify with a thumbs up. Okay. Citizen comments. And this is an opportunity, if there's something that's not on the agenda this evening, to voice concern or questions to the select board. Chris, is there anyone with their hand up?
Moment, the board is clear, Brian.
Okay. Then we'll move on to the approval of first, second, third class liquor licenses, outside consumption permits, and entertainment permits. And Webster, our town clerk, has submitted for approval 3 additional first and third class liquor license renewal applications that she has received since the board's February 9th meeting. All public safety inspections for these applications have been completed. Are there any questions on any of those 3? If there are any, then pleasure of the board.
I'll move to approve the 2021 renewal applications for the applicable first and third class liquor licenses for Taste of India, Marquee Theater, and Rosie's Restaurants as presented by Town Clerk and Webster.
And
Did I hear a second?
yeah,
Okay, Farhad. All right. All in favor signify with a thumbs up. Okay. Chris, if you could bring Chief Hanley in then.
Don't see Tom in the meeting at the moment.
not here.
Dan Werner is here. Maybe move him ahead and get the
Let's
chief.
do that. If you could bring Dan in now.
Okay.
Are you with us, Dan?
I am. Can you hear me now?
We can hear you. Yeah. Can't see you, but we can hear you.
See. Hang on a second. Well, I can talk through it. Okay, so before you is a proposal from Otter Creek Engineering. This is for the pump station on Halliday Road. This Halliday Road pump station serves everything from south of Public Works down past Foster Motors. So the southern end of the commercial areas is what goes through this pump station. So what we're going to do is rehab this pump station like we did the Seminary Street pump station. So it's going to get an enlarged wet well, new pumps, some valve and piping changes, and a little demolition of some older things, and try to get it done yet this year. So The proposal is for a total of $21,000. It's for final design and permitting for $15,000, and bid phase services for $6,000. I forgot to add, we're going to have an emergency standby generator for the pump station also, similar to what we did at Seminary Street. So that's the proposal. The infrastructure committee reviewed it and recommended to send it to you for approval. And like I said, we'll try to get this done through, by fall completion.
Okay. Any questions of Dan on this?
Brian, I'll recuse myself from this one as I have before with Otter Creek Engineering because I utilize them for professional assistance when I need it. So keep from any chance of conflict of interest.
Okay. Any other questions, comments? Pleasure of the board.
Okay.
I'll move to authorize Town Manager Kathleen Ramsey to sign the engineering agreement with Otter Creek Engineering for final design, permitting, and bid phase services for the Halliday Road sanitary sewer pump station improvement project at a total cost of $21,000.
Okay, moved and seconded. Any last questions or comments? Seeing none, all in favor of the motion, signify with a thumbs up. Okay, and one abstention. That's good news, Dan. We're still able to get this stuff moving. You think you're gonna have multiple people bidding on this one?
I would think so. I mean, we'll see how it goes, because we won't be out to bid for this for a couple months yet.
Okay,
But Otter Creek did the other 3 pump stations we did that last year and a half, so the boilerplate's pretty solid on what we need to do. So preparation shouldn't take too long. And then we've had some bidders asking about projects coming up, so we'll see.
okay.
All right.
Thanks, Dan.
All right. Thank you all. Good night.
Do we go to Jen Murray then next?
I don't see her either. Oh, she's here.
You have little faith for HUD. No, I'm here tonight to ask for your authorization to submit a grant application to the Downtown Transportation Fund. It's a 50% match program, so we'd be getting $90,000 in grant money to match $90,000 of our own. We can use that money to design and construct a sidewalk extension from the Amtrak rail platform into the Marble Works, pending, like all the right of way and easements and things like that. So.
Any questions of Jen on this?
Nick. Oh, sorry. I'm doing Brian's.
Okay, well, we did a good job anyway. No, actually, not really a question. I just want to say this is really a great idea. This is something that emerged, for those of you who walked the construction project last year at the rail line, you saw where this potential sidewalk could line up, and it's really quite intriguing and actually a nice pathway that just lends itself to this application. So I'm glad you moved through with this, Jen, and it'll be nice to see it happen. So thanks for bringing it along.
I do want to clarify for any panicked property owners out there that we're not talking about the path between the railroad and the homes there. It would be an on-road sidewalk.
Correct.
Following a middle road.
Yeah.
Whatever you call that, Middle Seymour Street and Maple Street, going into the Marble Works, right along the pavement.
It's a nice route.
Mm-hmm.
Heather?
It just would have been nice if the infrastructure committee had a chance to discuss this a little bit, because I know we also had some other new sidewalk project priorities not that I don't disagree that this one is a good project to go forward, but in the future, it would be nice if the infrastructure committee would have had a chance to discuss first before it came to the select board.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's part of the merits that I brought up last meeting of, having a match fund set aside with some match funds so that I know that we have a reliable pot of money in advance, and then we could start to maybe anticipate some of these grant programs that come out consistently and think about them in advance. I think that's a good idea, Heather.
I agree, Jen. I do, just so the rest of the board realizes, I think right now we're maybe up to 80,000 a year in the capital budget, maybe 85, to maintain existing sidewalks. So this 90,000 is, at or above what we're spending annually to maintain what we have existing. So it's a big chunk of our sidewalk program. So I just would like to see a little better collaboration between planning and infrastructure committee to make sure that we're all on the same page on what our priorities are and stuff. And then also setting up that money, so there is money available and we're all on the same page on what our priorities are going forward.
Just a quick follow-up on that this is a very competitive program, one, and two, we would be moving to construction in FY23. So this would be a focus of our next capital budget planning session. And we have typically set aside some funding for projects in the downtown.
Any other questions or comments? Okay. Pleasure of the board.
I'll move to sign the Select Board resolution authorizing the submission of the 2021 Downtown Transportation Fund Program grant application seeking $180,000 for design and construction of a sidewalk extension from the new passenger rail station into the Marble Works, including a commitment to provide the required 50% town match.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any comments or questions on that? On the motion? Seeing none, all in favor signify with a thumbs up. Okay. Jen, have you heard anything from Amtrak as far as their plans?
Well, they don't talk to the likes of me, but I do read in the paper that it's coming along maybe 2022. It sounds like it's still on track for 2022. No pun intended.
Okay, I thought they were going to reach out to the town. They called and said they were in the process of putting forth their plans, and they really didn't give me any info. But if we don't hear anything, maybe I can send you the contact information. It was a government lobbyist side versus their actual planners. So I was kind of hoping we'd hear from their planner.
That'd be good.
I would assume the planner's talking with the state. Have you heard anything from the state at all?
Not in a while. Maybe Dan has.
Okay. All right, I was just curious. Laura?
Sorry, I was a bit behind. Did you jump ahead on this agenda item? Or you've already handled everything?
We've got to go back for one thing, the
Okay.
local emergency management. But other than that, we've handled everything up to this item, yes. Plowing right ahead this evening, Laura.
Okay, all right. Well, thanks, Jen, for thinking of the sidewalks. It's always a good thing. And I know that we did a pop-up project where we showed how valuable that would be. And I appreciate Heather's comment about making sure that it fits in larger priorities, especially with regard to sidewalks, which are so expensive. And what else did I want to say? Oh, thank you while you're still here, for the post you put out clarifying the rules about posting lawn signs, because I know that there was ambiguity about that. And so if people are watching, so you need to be 25 feet from the center out and not obstructing.
That varies from road to road, but a good rule of thumb is to have that campaign sign on the inside edge of the sidewalk. You're pretty safely out of the right of way at that point.
That's good point. So thank you for reminding us of that.
Thanks, Laura.
Okay, thanks, Jen. If we could bring Chris Cioli in, please.
Am I on?
Chris?
Hello.
So you're here with a request for us. You want to present that?
Well, we've already, I believe we already have a letter of collaboration from the select board. Is that correct, Kathleen?
Right, this is more a letter of agreement that they're calling a letter of collaboration. So we have been notified that we will be participating in the technical assistance program, and this is merely a documentation of that.
So this is just the next step to formalize that we are accepting.
Right, that the town will have accept its responsibility. They'll be required a public hearing concerning the shade tree preservation plan, and it will need to be published 10 days prior to the public hearing, and the town will be required 50 hours of collaborative time.
Okay, I remember talking about that all, and that we have commitments on that. Okay. Any questions of Chris on this? Then pleasure of the board.
I can move to authorize Town Manager Kathleen Ramsey to sign the letter of collaboration with the Vermont Urban and Community Forestry Program for assistance in developing a Town of Middlebury shade tree preservation plan.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Okay, any final comments? Seeing none, all in favor, signify with a thumbs up. Okay, thank you, Chris.
Thank you. Thank you very much for your time.
Next is a couple of items that we've reviewed in executive session, and we need to address them out of executive session. First is consideration of a one-year extension of the town's collective bargaining agreement with the American Federation of State, County, and Municipal Employees, Council 93, Local 1201, the DPW, Wastewater, Water, Office, Recreation, and Library Departments Employees Union. And it's a approval needed for signing the memorandum of agreement before the board for extending the expiration date of the town's current collective bargaining agreement with the American Federation of State, County, and Municipal Employees for an additional to June 30th, 2022, with additional terms previously discussed in our executive session. Are there any questions about that? Laura, you're muted.
Sorry. So I'll move that we authorize Town Manager Kathleen Ramsey to sign that memorandum of agreement, extending the expiration date of the collective bargaining agreement with the American Federation of State, County, and Municipal Employees, Council 93, Local 1201, by 1 year to June 30th, 2022.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Are there any questions on that? Seeing none, all in favor signify with a thumbs up. Next is consideration of a one-year extension of town's collective bargaining agreement with the New England Police Benevolent Association Incorporated Local 423. And that's approval needed for Kathleen to sign the memorandum of agreement extending the expiration of the town's current collective bargaining agreement by 1 year to June 30th, 2022, with additional terms previously discussed. Any questions on that? The pleasure of the board.
I move to authorize Town Manager Kathleen Ramsey to sign the memorandum of agreement extending the expiration date of the collective bargaining agreement with the New England Police Benevolent Association, Inc., Local 423, by 1 year to June 30, 2022.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor, signify with a thumbs up. Okay. And the last item is settlement agreement before the board for approval. Settling agreements filed in March 2020 by a town employee represented by AFSCME, the union, employees union, in accordance with the terms previously discussed. Are there any questions on that one? Okay, pleasure of the board.
I'll make a motion to authorize Town Manager Kathleen Ramsey to sign the settlement agreement with the American Federation of State, County, and Municipal Employees Council 93, Local 1201, to settle the grievance filed in March 2020.
Second that too.
Moved and seconded. All in favor, signify with a thumbs up. Okay. I think Chief is busy with business, so we're going to just go on to check to the approval of the check warrants.
Or by the authority of the Select Board granted on April 28th, 2020, I've reviewed and approved total expenditures of $424,246.26, consisting of $319,356.52 for accounts payable and $104,889.74 for payroll for the period of February 10th, 2021 through February 22nd, 2021. And I move the board's approval of payment of these expenditures.
Second.
And seconded. All in favor, signify with a thumbs up. Okay, Kathleen, anything to report?
Nothing to add.
Nothing, yeah, okay. We're gonna have a break then until 7 o'clock. Maybe if everybody could make sure they're back at their computer a couple minutes early. I think we should probably just review with the attendees how to raise their hands and stuff when they have questions and want to contribute. Is there anything else procedurally that we would need to run through with them, Laura?
Do they have to be a resident or a registered voter in order to comment?
Well, since this isn't a town meeting, what do you think?
Right, I would say not, because we won't be doing any voting on this tonight.
Okay. That's good. Okay, we don't have to manage for that.
We didn't have anything in place particularly to verify that, so. Okay, so either Heather, you want to be the expert on Zoom and just review how they do it when we come back, or have you been a long enough time that you forget?
No, I think I can help people if I can do something quickly if you would like me to.
Sure.
Okay.
Okay, then we'll see you all in half an hour.
Thanks. Okay.
So I'd like to welcome everyone to our town information meeting in preparation for balloting. And before we start, I would like to have Heather walk through the protocols of a Zoom meeting and how you can get recognized to speak.
Sorry, I couldn't even get myself off of mute. Good evening, everyone. So it's been a little while since I've seen the screen from the participant's point of view, but I'm pretty sure if you don't see a toolbar in the bottom of your window, if you run your mouse over it, it will pop up. One of the options there should be a little icon to raise your hand. If you click on that, what we see from our end is a little hand raised in the attendees list, and it generally will list you in the order that your hand was raised. If you are participating by phone, I believe you need to press *9, and that will will also raise your hand and get you in the queue for participating in the meeting. I also believe that the chat feature is available, so if you have any issues, you can also, no?
Heather, we're not going to do chat or Q&A
Okay.
because it's just too unwieldy.
Okay, I'm sorry. Disregard that part. I just thought if anyone was having trouble, they could send a message, but disregard that part.
Well, as always, in case of emergency, do chat us.
Okay, thanks, Heather. I would like to, before we get started, thank the Select Board for all of the hard work that the Select Board has done throughout the course of the past year. Certainly, it's been an unusual year, and our town staff, led by Kathleen Ramsey, our town manager, has been incredibly professional. Our services have continued throughout, and that has meant that to achieve that they've had to put forth an extra effort. And so really appreciate the work that our town staff and employees, as well as the Select Board, would like to recognize Victor Nuovo, who's not with us this evening. Victor stepped down after serving for many years on the board for personal reasons, and thank Laura Sermerly for stepping in the interim and contributing. And so thank everyone for that. In preparation for town meeting Australian ballot voting on Tuesday, March 2nd, the Select Board is conducting this public information meeting to present the 5 warned articles that will be voted and give members of the community an opportunity to ask questions or share their thoughts about the articles. As a reminder, this session is not our annual town meeting, but rather an informational meeting that the board is hosting as part of a special Select Board meeting. Special because we're holding it on Monday instead of our usual Tuesday, so as not to interfere with the ACSD's virtual public information meeting scheduled for tomorrow night. In response to the pandemic, the Vermont legislature last fall passed Act 162, a temporary measure that allows towns to vote all town meeting warrant articles by Australian ballot. And the Middlebury Select Board, among many other legislative bodies across the state, voted to adopt that approach for town meeting this year. Therefore, for us assembled here tonight, it's important to keep 2 things in mind. First, we will not be voting on any of the warrant articles this evening. All voting will take place on Tuesday, March 2nd, either by absentee ballot or in person at the town's recreation facility at 154 Creek Road. And second, because there is no voting tonight, There will be no opportunity to propose amendments to the warrant articles on the ballot. All of the articles will be voted upon as presented on March 2nd. While these procedures are a departure from tradition, the legislature approved them in recognition of the extraordinary circumstances all communities are facing this year. It should be noted that the provisions of Act 162 apply only to municipal meetings held in 2021, unless the legislature decides to amend the statute. I'm sure that we're all wanting to be back in person, and I talked with NPR today, who was soliciting comments from a bunch of townships, and I don't think that Vermont's tradition of town meeting is in any threat of going away, because the communities really do value that, and so this is an extraordinary situation. Before we present each of the 5 articles on this year's town meeting ballot, a couple housekeeping items. After presenting each warrant article, we'll spend about 15 or 20 minutes, or whatever it takes, taking your questions and comments. To make sure that we have time for everyone who wants to speak, we will limit questions and comments to no more than 90 seconds. Our Zoom meeting host will give you a 15-second warning as you are approaching your time limit. In that same spirit, we want to give everyone who wishes to speak an opportunity to do so before circling back around to anyone who has already contributed and who wishes to make an additional comment. Please keep your comments on topic and relevant to the article being discussed. And of course, I know all of us will treat one another, especially those with viewpoints different from our own, with civility and respect. And please keep in mind that while all ideas and opinions deserve to be heard, the same argument made over and over by multiple speakers doesn't necessarily strengthen its persuasiveness. During tonight's discussion, if you have a question or comment for the select board, just a reminder in which you follow what Heather walked through by raising your hand or pressing *9 on your phone. When our Zoom meeting host recognizes you, remember to unmute your microphone before you start speak, and then state your full name for the public record before making your comment. And first to present this evening will be our illustrious town manager, Kathleen Ramsey, to cover our FY22 town budget. Kathleen?
Kathleen, you're muted.
You're muted, Kathleen.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for that note that I was muted. Just wanted to say hello before starting a presentation on the budget for you. So we'll start off with this year's budget article. Shall the voters of the town of Middlebury vote to adopt the proposed budget for fiscal year 2022, July 1st, 2021 to June 30th, 2022, in the amount of $11,510,928, with a portion thereof in the amount of $7,571,924 to be raised by taxes and $622,706 to be allocated from annual local option tax receipts in excess of debt and maintenance requirements of the Cross Street Bridge to offset spending for capital improvements. Developing the FY22 budget, the Selectboard set the following goals: minimize the increase in the tax rate, main services, and continue to support our ambitious capital improvement program. budget before voters for 2022 couples the select board goals with citizens' input in recent years by using cash on hand to minimize tax increases, use reserves and or local option tax revenue to fund infrastructure improvement projects, and reduce amounts borrowed and or interest expense. The FY22 budget under consideration applies the goals and input by level funding the amount of property taxes raised. The amount of property taxes required to support the FY22 budget is the same amount raised last year, $7,571,924. We achieved this by applying the same amount of unassigned fund balance, i.e. surplus, to the budget as last year, $392,462, increasing the amount of local option tax receipts for capital improvements and debt service on the Police Department Adaptive Reuse Project and the Flood Resiliency Project by $38,961. Last year's $583,745 to $622,706. We also, for the first time, tapped the Middlebury Business Development Fund for $5,000 to offset the increase in funding requested by the Better Middlebury Partnership. And we fully funded the purchase of vehicles and equipment rather than borrowing funds for replacement. The FY22 budget includes funding for the replacement of one police cruiser and one dump truck plow for the Department of Public Works. So as you see, we essentially level funded the tax rate by level funding the amount to be raised. This chart shows a 0.2 of a cent increase in the tax rate, which translates into about 40 cents on a $200,000 house of an increase. And that, of course, is assuming that our grant list is not changed going into next year. No increase or decrease. This chart shows that we get about 66% of our revenues from property taxes, 1.2 million from gifts and payments from the college, local option tax, $1 million, state and federal money, $396,000, interfund transfers, $376,000, and fees for service of $468,500. Here's a breakdown of our expenses with a good chunk going to Public Works at 3.4 million, police at 2.4 million, fire department 336,000, libraries just $63 or $73 under $900,000, and recreation and park $665, community administration administration and community programs at 1.5 million, debt service at $942, and the Cross Street Bridge at $977,294, and just over $200,000 for health and human services. So I always like to share our major budget drivers. As always, one of our major drivers was wage and benefit increases of $89,000. We added the purchase of the cruiser to the equipment fund replacement for police. This is the amount of the increase. The anticipated cost of the cruiser was $40,000. Property and casualty insurance also sustained a $25,000 increase, and the county tax just over $8,000. This year, we were also hit with some major reductions in revenue on our tax collection fees, decreased by $13,000. Library fees, which goes to our library pursuing a fine-free policy. Major hit on the general fund interest, $62,000, and interest on the Cross Street Bridge fund balance decreased by $19,000. On the expense side, $43,000, $43,616 decrease in debt service, decrease in capital improvements. This is less than 1% of the capital improvement budget of $1.4 million. A decrease in highway equipment fund reserve for purchases of $75,714. Revenue increases, the local option tax retained in excess of Cross Street Bridge Fund debt, $38,961, and the transfer from the development fund for the from the business development fund for the Better Middlebury Partnership increase. I always like to do a deeper dive on what's going on with the Cross Street Bridge Fund. Here we see that the debt for FY22 is $941,097, which is offset by the college gift for the Cross Street Bridge of $600,000 and local option tax of the remainder. Breaking down the local option tax allocations, we have the $341,97 for the debt service, the $622,706 for the capital improvements, and $36,197 will be transferred to the fund. Quick look at the capital budget. The lion's share of our capital budget goes to Public Works, $1.16 million, General Government 56, Parks and Recreation 83, Libraries 37, Fire Department 65, and Police Department 32. Capital improvement projects we have planned. These are just a few of our highlights. So we have many projects going on, but here are a few of them. Main Street sidewalk and granite curbing, Court Square, Court Street water main improvements, parking lot and sidewalks for the rail platform, Maple Street stormwater improvement project, Katy Road culvert replacement, completion of the Route 116 water main in conjunction with Vermont Agency of Transportation's culvert replacement near Dow Pond on Route 116, Halliday Road pump station improvements, the East Middlebury flood resiliency project, highway paving and sidewalk areas to be determined. The state will also be paving Class 1 roads in the downtown, Route 7, Court Street, Route 30, Main Street, Route 125, Cross Street, and College Street. In the Recreation Department, we'll be replacing Recreation Park playground equipment, which we usually refer to as the tot lot, with universal access equipment, replacing the backstop at the Jack Brown baseball field, and resurfacing the basketball court at Rec Park, making a multi-use court for pickleball. We have several agencies that the Select Board reviewed during the budget process. Addison County Restorative Justice, which requested a $3,000 increase. Addison County Home Health and Hospice, which also requested an increase. Middlebury Regional EMS, which was reviewed as part of an ongoing review of their request. There was no increase there, level funding from this year. The Better Middlebury Partnership requested a general fund budget increase from $25,000 to $30,000. To note, the The Middlebury Partnership also receives $15,166 in support from the town through the Downtown Improvement District tax. Our featured agency, Madison County Restorative Justice. This agency, which provided services to 76 Middlebury residents in 2020, provides an opportunity for program participants, both adult and youth, to fully appreciate the impact that their offenses and inappropriate behaviors have had, and to develop empathy for victims in the community. Participants are also given a chance to repair some of the harm caused by their actions and to build the skills necessary to avoid future involvement with the juvenile or criminal justice system. Requested increase of $3,000 from $2,500 to $5,500 will fund expanded services, including the Driving with License Suspended, DLS program, a program to assist clients with regaining their licenses and driving safely. Addison County Home Health and Hospice provides services to enhance the health, dignity, and independence of Addison County residents through comprehensive patient-centered home health and hospice care. Incurred, unplanned, and unbudgeted expenses with the pandemic of $100,000 annualized in PPE, building renovations to keep employees safe, $10,000, and $6,500 in computer equipment to allow employees to work from home. We had 24 flu clinics free of charge to residents and employees, vaccinating more than 1,000 Addison County residents in the fall of 2020. Purchased the medicine chest to assure clients access to medical equipment and supplies. $3,458 increase is requested from $8,542 in FY21 to $12,000 in FY22. Middlebury Regional EMS. In 2019, Middlebury Regional EMS responded to 2,990 incidents, including 911, heavy rescue, transfer, mutual aid, and paramedic intercepts. Middlebury Regional EMS also provided event coverage, agency assists, and automatic responses with the Middlebury Fire Department. Recently upgraded and renovated emergency communication system provides a variety of services, including switchboard for UVMC Medical Center with over 10,000 calls per month, answering 21 practices, paging services, and dispatch for 3 departments and 3 EMS agencies. The Middlebury Regional EMS Working Group Select Board members Nick Ardham, Heather Seeley, and Dan Brown reviewed agencies' request financial documents, received an update on the status of their equipment replacement plan, and learned about systemic issues and challenges facing small town volunteer emergency medical services, with the goal of stability in the provision of quality emergency medical services for our community, particularly during the pandemic. The working group recommended that the Select Board support a 1-year extension of town funding for Middlebury Regional EMS at its current level, $84,960, while continuing to foster an ongoing dialogue with Middlebury Regional EMS about long-term planning for the stability of this important service. And finally, the Better Middlebury Partnership. Last but not least, Better Middlebury Partnership, EMP, supports businesses by hosting signature community events, sponsoring various community initiatives to support business development and retention, and promoting Middlebury as a destination for area residents and tourists through the experience.middlebury.com website. EMP's requested increase of $5,000 from $25,000 to $3,000 is the first increase requested since 2011. Looking ahead, while the Select Board has presented a budget requiring no increase in property taxes assessed, keep in mind that increases in the following expenses, including unanticipated COVID-19, expenses and recovery efforts, capital improvements, replacement of vehicles and equipment, health insurance, mandates including cleanup of Lake Champlain, and the uncertainty on the length and severity of the pandemic recession and the future of state and federal funding, as well as dwindling reserves and fund balance, will put significant upward pressure on budgets and tax rates in FY23 and beyond.
So with that, we will entertain any questions or comments on the FY22 town budget. Just a reminder to raise your hand if you have any questions or comments, and we'll recognize you and bring you into the speaking mode so that you can comment. Dave Silverman?
Go ahead, Dave. If you would state your name for the record, please.
Hi, Dave Silberman. I wanted to thank the board for, in response to comments at last year's town meeting, for including the police cruiser expenditures in the police budget rather than as a separate item. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dave, and thank you for that comment at town meeting last year.
Anybody else? Before we go on to Article 2, I guess I would just like to point out how hard the town staff has worked to bring a budget to you that does not put upward pressure on our taxes, property taxes this year, understanding the situation that everybody is in. We couldn't go backwards because we have so many significant projects in place, but there were cuts made, and Kathleen is probably the best budgeter I've ever worked with, and works very well with the staff. And so, okay, we do have, before we leave this topic, I think a little recognition of the hard work they did is in order. Joe McVeigh's got his hand up.
Go ahead, Joe.
Yes, thank you very much. In an earlier iteration of the annual report for the town, the budget, I think, was presented line item by line item. And I noted at that time that the amount, I believe, allocated for libraries was $693,000. I believe our budget is usually about 760, but the figure that was presented early in the Kathleen's report was 899,000. Have I made an error here?
No, you are right on. I should explain that the budget chart includes all of the benefits for each department, as well as all of the capital expenditures. So that's the full load for that category presented in that chart. Whereas the line item budget only shows the operating expenses.
Thank you.
Good question, Joe. Anybody else? Kathleen, could you take us to Article 2?
Sure. Shall the voters of the town of Middlebury vote to collect taxes on real property for fiscal year 2021, 2022 in 3 equal installments due in the treasurer's office on the 15th day of August 2021, the 15th day of November 2021, and the 15th day of March, 2022. We have presented this article to you by popular demand for 3 installments along our traditional tax due date times of August 15th, November 15th, and March 15th.
Are there any questions? Popular demand was to go with 3, so we will continue with 3 unless you vote otherwise. So Article 3 is, shall the voters of the town of Middlebury permit the operation of cannabis retailers and integrated licensees within the town of Middlebury pursuant to 7 VSA Section 863A1. In hopes that we would give people opportunity to engage on this topic, the select board voted to include this early on while there was a was a petition being circulated, but our intent was to make sure that there was plenty of time to educate and engage. We did have a information meeting and have provided some information on the town's website for people to read, and frankly, have not had as much engagement, I think, as the select board had anticipated. So with that, I will open it up. There's no formal presentation on this by the select board, but it's an opportunity for our citizens to make comments. We did add to the select board packet frequently asked questions to address a couple of the items that were commented on or queried at our information meeting. And with that, I'll open it up to any questions or comments. Frank Winkler, please.
Go ahead, Frank.
There. Now I'm unmuted. This is Frank Winkler, and I simply had a question. If we vote to allow cannabis sales in Middlebury, and then if somehow this does not work out as the majority of voters wish, is this something that could be rescinded by a vote at some future time?
Yes, Frank, this was addressed at our information meeting, and correct me if I'm wrong, those of you watching, but we could vote to stop adding additional establishments, but that would not permit us to terminate existing establishments. If they went out of business or something, and then the place wouldn't necessarily be refilled, but we could stop adding additional establishments at any time.
Thank you.
Victoria DeWind?
Victoria, go ahead, please.
Hi there. So does this mean when a business is given a permit to open, it's in perpetuity, or it's ongoing? It doesn't get reviewed in, say, 5 years, or?
What I understand, the permitting is going to be like with a liquor license, so it would be an annual review, Victoria?
Oh, so there would be a way to close a business to rescind their, if it's not working out, or?
Well, there,
Or if they didn't follow the rules and regulations, Victoria, I don't believe we could close them just because we didn't want them anymore.
Oh, okay. All right, thanks.
Peter Lackey?
Go ahead, please.
Hi. I assume that there are tax revenues resulting from the sales of cannabis. What portion of those tax revenues will go to the town and what portion will go to the state?
Kathleen, it's our local option tax plus the fees for the licensing fees. Is that correct, that the town would get?
that's right. I think that other revenues would be going to, was it maybe David Silberman can correct me if I'm wrong, early childhood education?
David, can you help us with that, please?
Yes, there will be a total of 20% in state taxes. The 6% state sales tax will be reserved for a yet to be created program for universal after school care programs. And there will be a 14% excise tax. 30% of that 14% will be reserved for what the legislature has called prevention programming. And then there will be the 1% local option tax, as Kathleen and Brian mentioned.
Thank you.
Any other questions on Article 3?
Brian, before we go on to Article 4, some folks from Ripton were going to join us at 7:45. I don't see them yet, or I hadn't seen them earlier. So I see Molly Witters is here. Okay, thank you.
Okay. Dave.
Dave.
All right, real quick, I would like to invite folks who are interested in more information on Article 3 to visit a website that us promoting a yes vote have put together. It is midyes.com, MIDDYES.com. Thank you.
And similarly, people may want to check out the YouTube on the Select Board's February 9th meeting where we had the information session on this vote.
Linda Horn.
Linda, go ahead, please.
Hi, I'm off topic, but how many people are in this meeting?
We have 53 here, and I heard earlier that 30 are watching on YouTube. We don't know how many people are watching on cable.
Thank you.
Laura, did you have something?
That's what I was going to note, and I was going to welcome those that are new to our town that are joining us tonight, and just a special welcome to you for plugging in.
Okay. One last call for Article 3. Dan?
Yeah, Kathleen, just a reminder, the United Way submitted us a frequent questions, I think, and is that posted on the website, which is, I think, a great letter for everybody listening, and trying to determine what their way they're going to vote, I think you should read that and see the, it's not necessarily a position paper, it's not for or against, but it certainly brings up some incredible statistics about drug and alcohol use of young people, and particularly in Middlebury, and how it compares significantly worse than national averages and state averages. And it's a really good document to read.
So that can be found under, on the homepage, go to For Residents, and then right under that is the March 2021 annual town meeting information in that letter, and the other presentations from February 9th are available there in one location.
Thank you.
Okay. If there are no other questions or comments on Article 3, then we will move to Article 4. In Article 4 is, shall the voters of the town of Middlebury ratify the town of Ripton's vote of January 12th, 2021 to withdraw the town of Ripton from the Addison Central School District. And I believe we have someone from Ripton joining us here. Did you say she's on right now, Molly? I believe.
Yes, Molly is on.
Okay. Molly, were you going to comment?
Yes, here I am.
There we go.
Can you hear me? Sorry, I was just at our select board meeting and I'm having some technical difficulty bouncing between these select board meetings. We're high rollers now these days, where we can go from meeting to meeting. It's a little bit intimidating, really.
Yes.
If you can give me just 1 minute, I can pull up what I was hoping to say to you all tonight. I really appreciate you welcoming me here and letting me join in. I think there's some neat opportunities with democracy as we try to negotiate this new world. So my name is Molly Witters, and I'm a Ripton resident. I'm the Ripton town moderator, but I don't come to you as the moderator tonight. I come to you as a representative of the Save Our Schools grassroots movement. We've been very involved in advocating for the voices of small community schools over the last couple of years. And tonight, I'm hoping to fill you all in briefly about where we are in Ripton and what we're hoping we can expect from this upcoming vote. For those of you who don't know, on January 12th, Ripton's residents voted by a significant majority, 163 to 107, to leave the Addison Central School District. This came after almost 2 years of advocacy that at the time was not directed at leaving, but really directed at being heard and empowered in a system that was built without appreciation of the unique value of scale in the Vermont social fabric. So tonight I come with a simple message. We hope that you, as fellow Vermonters, will respect that our town has already voted to leave the district by a large majority. We hope that you will trust that we have weighed and deeply investigated the impacts of this choice on our children and our community. We are not asking you to decide if this is morally or even functionally right for our town. We have already democratically made that decision. Your task is to ask how our departure might affect your own town. So with that in mind, I want to take a moment to discuss the most potentially consequential impact this decision could have on your town. And of course, that's taxes. Fortunately for you, because Ripton is so small, and because our cost per pupil is in fact amongst the highest in the district, our leaving will have a tax neutral effect on other towns in the district. This statement has been thoroughly vetted and you're hearing it from a veterinarian. This statement has been thoroughly vetted and confirmed by many officials, including the district's own former business manager, Brittany Gilman. In fact, recently, in its efforts to refute our withdrawal from the district itself crunched these numbers in 2 scenarios. And I want those 2 scenarios to sit here in front of us. Scenario 1, what are the tax implications if Ripton leaves the district and is responsible for its own elementary school? Scenario 2, what are the tax implications if Ripton's majority town vote is rejected by its neighbors and its elementary students are forced to attend 1 or maybe even be split into 2 remaining ACSD schools? In both of these scenarios, the calculations suggested a tax savings would occur for the rest of the district. Ripton's departure should be a revenue neutral or even a cost saving scenario for your taxes. Us being forced to stay in the district could theoretically save you marginally more in taxes, calculated at 0.03%. But I beg to ask you what those marginal savings at the expense of a neighbor's democratically chosen wishes is really worth in the moral playing field of our lives. We have been extremely heartened in talking to so many neighbors around the district over these last weeks. We are feeling an overwhelming sense of support from you all, and so much of it comes down to us sharing strong common values. We believe in local democracy, we believe in the importance of small towns in defining our state's values, and we believe in supporting one another. In Ripton, we want to keep our young children close. We want to keep our community vibrant and a place where working families choose to move. Please recognize the passion and investment we have exhibited in fighting for our town with a yes vote on March 2nd. Thank you very much.
And the information provided by the Save Our Schools folks from Ripton and the Addison Central School District is available also on the town's town meeting page.
Molly, thank you for joining us this evening. Are there any questions that anybody has? This very well may be the shortest town meeting Middlebury has ever had. Of course, we realize it's not the same. Okay, Article 4, any questions or comments? Molly has joined us from Ripton to be available if anybody had any questions of the proponency group. Okay. I guess I will move to Article 5.
Brian, we do have one hand raised.
Okay. Elizabeth?
Yeah. Okay, go ahead, Elizabeth, please.
Yes, hello. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Great. Yes, I just wanted to thank Molly for coming forward and speaking on behalf of the people in Ripton. And I also wanted to thank you all. This is our first meeting that we've attended. We're rather new here to Middlebury, so thank you so much for upholding a democratic process for us. Thank you.
Elizabeth, could you please state your full name for the record, please?
Oh, sure. It's Elizabeth Van Dyne.
Thank you.
Okay, not seeing any other hands raised for Article 4. I'm going to move to Article 5, which is to elect officers as required by the Middlebury Town Charter. And I'd like to provide an opportunity for everyone who is up for election to introduce themselves and take up to 90 seconds to make any comments that you might have. And I'm going to start with the ones that I know are running on the select board to set the standard of participation here. Lindsay, you want to
Sure. Hi, everyone. I'm Lindsay Fuentes George. I'm just finishing up my first term here on the select board, and I would love to run again, and I am running again. I'm going to attempt to do what I did the last time I ran and be available at the polling site if people would like to speak to me. There was some concern last time that I was not following protocol, but I just want to be very clear. I will be there. I am okay to be there. I will not get in your way if you don't want to speak to me, but I will be there if you would like to. And I have really enjoyed my time here on the select board. I think we're doing great work together. I really enjoy the differing viewpoints that are brought to us and the many ways that so many people in our community show their care for the town of Middlebury in big ways and small ways. So that's about it, and thank you.
Thank you, Lindsay. Farhad?
Hello, everyone. My name is Farhad Khan. I was appointed on the select board to the select board in 2017 for a one-year term. Then I ran for election I just finished my first full term of 3 years, and I'm up for re-election again. First of all, I wanted to thank all my colleagues on the board. Great group of people to work with. We have done a lot of things together. We disagree, but we are respectful of each other. I appreciate that. So I want to thank all the colleagues, and I also want to thank you folks out there and appreciate your continued support for the next 3 years. I'm looking forward to it.
Thank you, Farhad. Ann Webster.
Go ahead, Ann.
Okay, I just wanted to say if there are any candidates out there, I'm hoping that you can bring them on to the panel so that if people want to introduce themselves, that we can actually see their faces. So
That's a good idea.
I just wanted to put that out there before anybody came on. Thanks.
Okay. Esther Thomas, can you do that so that people can see?
I sure can. Esther, if you'd like to turn on your camera.
Hi, I am Esther Thomas. Thank you for allowing me to speak. I am running for the select board. So March 2nd, I will also be out there. I promise I won't get in your way. I'll be in my corner, but if you would like to talk to me, perfect chance to. And if you want to reach out, you could check out my website, BeTheChange.com. But I'm Esther Thomas, full-time working mom of 2. I have a 5-year-old and a 3-year-old, and I want to be a part of the community in a fresh and a new way for me. This is the first time I've ever done anything like this, but I'm excited to be a part of the community. Whether I win or lose, I'm happy to be here. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Esther. Andy Hooper?
Hi there. My name's Andy Hooper. I'm also running for the same select board seat that Esther is, the one vacated by Victor in the fall. I've been involved in local politics for quite some time. I served 4 terms in Montpelier on the city council there. And while I've lived in Montpelier, in Middlebury, I've been serving on the solid waste district, the library board, and the regional planning commission. I very much appreciate this forum. I think this is maybe the 30th town meeting that I've been to in my life. Even if there's not quite as much banter as normal through the Zoom interface, it's very nice to see such great attendance and so many people invested in our town. I've delivered, I think, 1,500 pamphlets around the town the past 2 weeks, and I hope I haven't startled your dogs as I walk down very lengthy driveways and sneak up on back doors. And I appreciate the courtesy and grace that everyone shows when they take a pamphlet, whether or not they agree with me or have any interest in the items on it. Everyone has been incredibly polite and kind. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Andy. Is there anyone else running for another position who would like to introduce themselves? Chris Kramer. You're on mute, Chris.
Hi, this is Chris Kramer. I'm running for the school board. Is that appropriate for this meeting?
Absolutely.
Okay,
Yeah.
great. It is. I'm running from Cornwall, but it's an at-large vote, so all the towns get to vote. I'm currently co-chair of Friends of Cornwall School, which I've done since my son was in kindergarten, the end of his kindergarten year. He's in second grade now, so I've had the challenge and the opportunity to be co-chair of Friends of Cornwall School throughout the pandemic. But we've been able to do a lot that way, just in different ways. When the numbers were down, we even had a socially distanced concert in the backyard of the school chef, which he used a stick to keep people apart, and it worked out fine. So we've raised money for the school for things like school supplies and tents and all that kind of thing. We've also done a fair amount of crosstown work, and I've worked on that personally. I've actually held a meeting at Middlebury Town Hall where we tried to sit down with folks from both Middlebury and the smaller surrounding towns to talk about our future and kind of break down some of the barriers to trust and communication, and just get things going in a more productive way. We did that before COVID, obviously. And hopefully with things starting to look a little bit up, we'll have a chance to do more of that. So I hope you'll consider me for the position, and I really look forward to being involved. Thanks very much.
Okay, thank you. Zoe Noble?
I just moved the wrong person. Hold on one second, please.
See Zoe down at the bottom of our list, Chris.
Oh, there she is. Okay, sorry about that, Zoe. I'm promoting you right now if you'd like to turn your camera on.
Hi, can you all hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, first of all, I just want to make a quick correction. I apologize. I'm Mary Heather Noble. I was actually watching this on the YouTube stream, and I wasn't sure whether there would be an opportunity for ACSD board candidates to also introduce ourselves. So I hopped over to Zoom, and I appreciate the opportunity. So I'm hoping you can see now, I'm Mary Heather Noble. I am a resident of Middlebury and running for one of the Middlebury positions on the ACSD board. Just wanted to take the opportunity to introduce myself so y'all can put a face to a name. I am a parent in Middlebury. I'm a writer, an environmental scientist, mostly community volunteer here. I've lived here for about 5.5 years, have been really actively involved in the schools when my kids were at Mary Hogan specifically. I have an 8th grader at Mums and a junior at the high school. I'm kind of doing this on the fly, so I don't have my notes right in front of me. But I did want to say that I have participated as a steering committee member on the Facilities Master Planning Committee. And actually that work, in addition to volunteering in the classroom at Mary Hogan and coaching kids at Mary Hogan, are really the primary reasons for me running for this position. I just want to acknowledge the broad issues that students in our community
are dealing with, ranging, from things beyond academic issues. Students are showing up to school, and many of them are prepared to learn, but many of them are not. And we have students dealing with poverty, dealing with trauma, dealing with special learning needs. I personally am a parent of a kiddo who has different learning needs, so I am very familiar with the special education system and navigating that system. And it can be really difficult to meet the needs of those kids, particularly in budget constraint situations. So that, in addition to serving on the steering committee, are what really motivated me to run for this position. Our district faces a lot of challenges, and those challenges are really creating a tension with our tradition of small community schools.
15 seconds, please.
I just want to put my experience with writing and communication, my passion for the schools toward that work, see if we can come to a broad understanding of the problems and really work together to find solutions. So I appreciate your welcoming to the meeting, and please reach out if you have questions. Thank you again, and hope for your support. Thanks.
Okay, thank you, Mary Heather. Okay, is there anyone else who is running for a position? Lindsay Hescock.
Lindsay, go ahead, please.
Does she know she's muted?
There we go. Hey, Lindsay.
Hi, good evening, everyone. I'm Lindsay Hescock. I live in East Middlebury, and I'm running for ACSD board member of Middlebury. There are 2 open positions and 3 of us running, and there have been several forums if people want more in-depth information about how we respond to the hot topics like what are our most important issues and how do we stand on Ripton and SROs, 6th grade move. So there have been several forums that you could turn to, and I welcome you to reach out to me. They have my info on file. I'm on Facebook. I've lived in Vermont for almost 20 years. I have deep roots, and my family moved here before I was born, and my whole life I've been in Addison County a lot. And I now have a 3rd grader at Mary Hogan, and I anticipate that he'll be in our public school system here throughout his education. And with all of the challenges facing our school district, just talking nonstop with my friends who have students in the district, I just realized there was an opportunity to be part of this process. And so I have a lot of experience working in advocacy, working in the schools as a parent volunteer for special education programs, enrichment programs. A lot of people have gone to my Zumba, hooping, other movement classes, and I welcome the opportunity for people to get to know this side of me. That's a little bit, it's different than, doing that sort of thing in the community. I'm really passionate about the issues at hand, and think that, looking at the K through 12 entire education experience and, how important it is to our community is essential. And I feel like there are a lot of either unheard or ignored voices. And I'm, I look forward to being able to get to know this existing school board and figure out how to perhaps come up with some solutions to these difficult challenges that face us in the years years to come, not just this next year, but 10 years down the road. My son will still be in the school district. So thank you all. And please vote on town meeting day or request your ballots ahead of time. I don't believe they're coming to you in the mail this year. So those of you who are waiting for your ballots to arrive, they won't just show up in your mailbox this time, is what I understand. And you can vote for every school board position, regardless of what town you live in. So thank you all, and please reach out if you have questions or would like the link to the other forums.
Thanks, Lindsay.
Thank you.
Is there anybody else who's running for a position? Is that pretty well? No. Barbara Wilson.
Good evening. My name is Barb Wilson. I'm in Shoreham, and I'm going to keep it very brief. I just wanted to introduce myself and let you know who I am. I think many folks would recognize me. I actually am one of the vendors at the farmers market. But I'm running for school board. I have for Shoreham, representing Shoreham. I have an extensive business background. I was a math major. I also did a lot of analysis work in business analysis, that kind of thing. So I'm looking forward to really working together with the current board and helping to solve some of our difficult issues that we have and we're being faced with. So again, in the future, feel free to reach out to me as well. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Barb. So is there anyone else? All right. I think there was one good thing, Lindsay.
Sorry, I just, while we're on the topic of voting on March 2nd, and if Ann is still here, she can correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe Thursday is the last day to request a ballot, if you wanted to do so for early voting.
So yes, early voting is still available, but you must request that ballots be mailed to you no later than Thursday, February 25th. You can request your ballots at My Voter page, mvp.vermont.gov, or you can email Town Clerk Ann Webster at awebster@townofmiddlebury.org, or call her at 388-8100 extension 211 or 212. Voted ballots may be returned by mail or placed in the town clerk's drop box outside the town office doors closest to the library. Voted ballots may also be returned to the polls on March 2nd at the Middlebury Recreation Center Gymnasium, 154 Creek Road, from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. There is no in-person early voting at the town offices. For those wanting to vote in person, you may do so at the polls from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. on March 2nd.
Okay. We encourage everyone to get out and vote. If you don't vote early, vote on March 2nd. I want to thank everybody who did spend time attending this evening's meeting. I hope it was, I hope you at least got the information that you were seeking so that you could make an informed decision and an informed and vote in an informed manner. So that was our intent, and I would ask the board to stay on while everyone else falls off, because I would like to do a very brief executive session on an employee matter.
All non-select board members would drop off at this point, please. Dustin, are you there? Okay, I think I'll just remove the other folks who were still hanging out here.
So I think it's like watching an elevator, you know, the little thing for where the elevator is.
Terrible to get thrown out of a meeting.
Oh, you were in the Navy. You've probably been thrown out of other places.
I've been thrown out of lots of
Would
places.
you like to do the motions to take us into executive session so Kurt can get that on film, and then we'll.
Sir, can you do that?
Sure. In accordance with Vermont's open meeting law requirements, I move that the select board find that premature general knowledge of the consideration of employee matters would clearly place the select board at a substantial disadvantage because the select board risks disclosing its litigation strategy if it discusses the personnel matters in public.
Second.
All in favor, thumbs up. Okay.
I further move,
Oh, sorry, Heather.
should I go ahead?
Please.
Okay. I further move that the board enter into executive session to discuss personnel matters under the provisions of Title I, Section 313A1 of the Vermont statutes.
Second.
All in favor, thumbs up. Okay, so
Somebody else got on just now.
Yeah, my apologies for bursting in, Heather. I noticed somebody just joined on the call. Sanchez Webb, that might be Monica.
Monica.
The board is going into executive session. Monica, if you would drop off the call at this time, please.